Hiyo, welcome back to Imagine Your Odyssey, and today we're going to talk about batteries for your RV and how to do maintenance on them. It's not the lithium batteries and all those fancy ones that people have out there, not that I wouldn't mind having one, but it's the lead acid batteries that you have in your RV when you buy one. So there's some things that you need to pay attention to when you're doing the battery maintenance on your RV to make sure that it stays in tip-top shape for your adventures out there on the road. Now these tips that I'm going to give you about your battery, it only takes a few minutes to go out there, check yours, and make sure that everything is good to go. But there are a few important things that you need to do before you start your journey into checking your battery. Some of the things that I would recommend that you do before getting into looking at your battery is wearing some kind of rubber gloves and some kind of eye protection to make sure that you stay safe. The reason for that is because it has acid on the inside, hence lead acid battery. So the first thing you're going to want to do is locate your battery. Mine happens to be on the front of my RV up by my propane tanks. Once you locate the battery, it should have a cover on top kind of like this one. What I have to do on mine to remove the lid is to take a strap off and then remove the lid. But before I'm going to do that, I want to make sure that I wipe off any debris on top of this so that it doesn't get on top of the battery. Once I have the lid off, then I want to make sure I wipe off the top of the battery to get any kind of debris off of there. I'll explain why in just a minute that that's highly important, but yet you want to kind of dust it off the best that you can. The next step is to remove these little plastic lids on the top of your battery. Under that is going to be the holes where the lead acid water is contained. To do that, you're going to need some kind of tool to get up underneath the lid and kind of pry and wiggle it. Don't put a lot of pressure on it. You want it to pop off on its own, and then kind of wedge under it and pop it up really easily and grab them and remove them from the battery. Once you have those removed, take a rag. Now I took a couple of paper towels and just lightly soaked them with some kind of Windex cleaner. Now that you have the two lids removed from your battery, you'll see the holes where the water inside of the battery is contained. Before you go to checking anything, you need to wipe around those holes in the top of the battery off and clean it up really good. Now what I did is I took some paper towels, took some window cleaner, and lightly sprayed the paper towel so that I have something damp but yet won't get inside of the battery itself, and then wipe around the holes. What I like to do is just wipe around the holes and wipe away from the holes. You don't want to get any of that debris inside of the battery itself, because then it could shorten the life of the battery by reducing the amount of the acid that's inside the battery or creating some kind of short inside of the lead acid battery where the lead cells are. All right, now that you've got the lids removed and the batteries cleaned up ready for inspection, what you want to do is look inside of the holes. On mine has 6 holes. Yours should have about the same, but you look inside the holes and you should see some watery liquid inside. That's the actual acid that works with the lead cells to make electricity. Now, if the water is below the cell, you'll see it. There's little plates inside standing up, and if the water is below those, you need to add water. Now, before you go to adding any kind of water to it, make sure you buy distilled water only. That will go inside and keep everything working well inside of your battery. If you use any kind of other water, it can have contamination inside that could ruin your battery. So make sure you do that. Use only distilled water. Now, if you find yourself needing water or thinking, well, do I have the right amount of level in there? If you look inside of the holes, you should see where the plastic sleeve goes down, and at the bottom of the sleeve has little cutouts. On the bottom of those cutouts have little grooves inside of them, and the water should not be above those grooves. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's kind of like a little tube, has a little cutout inside of it. Don't put the water above that. Also, like I said before, if you can see the cells inside of the battery where the water is actually below that level, then you are way too low. Now, once that is done, you can go ahead and put the caps back on, and you're done with that inspection and filling and checking the water and all that good stuff. Also, you need to check the connections of the battery itself to the camper. Right here you can see where I'm going to wiggle the connections and make sure they're nice and secure. In this case, they are on mine. Also, you could see that the water level and all that was good as well, and all the inspections that I need to do are done. So at this point, my battery is good to go. I'm going ahead, put the lid back on, put the strap back on top of it, and I am done. Now, with all that being said, that brings up another good tip. I would recommend that you do this about every 3 months or so. Now, the reason that mine looks good, I have plenty of water inside, I have good security, I have everything clean, my connections are good. It's because I do that. Every 3 months I check my battery to make sure that everything is looking good, and then I put everything back to make sure that I'm in tip-top shape. And that makes sure that I can secure and have as maximum amount of life that I can get out of my battery. So that's about it. It's fairly simple in the things that you need to do the maintenance on your battery and to make sure that it lives as long as it can. Now, if you have everything full, connections are good, and you've been doing your maintenance, and over time you find that the battery's not doing what it needs to do, well then that probably means that the battery has lived to the rest of its life, and you probably need to replace it if you don't have any other kind of draws on there. And we can get into that in a completely another different video about how the electricity works inside of your camper. If you have any other kind of tips that you do around maintenance on your battery, please share that with the community down below in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please click on the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up for the video, and until the next time, keep up with your battery maintenance, enjoy your camping trips, and God bless.